digital cable. So the Angels with Mike Scioscia and in first place in the American League West, but a little too close for comfort with the Texas Rangers, who just won't go away. The Rangers are 3.5 games back of the Angels in the West. 10th season as Angels manager, and they'll be facing Robinson Tejeda, who's making his first start for the Royals this year. Made a start last year, filling in for Gil Mesh, who has a fatigue in his right shoulder. And let's welcome in Joe Goldberg.
Well, that fatigue in the right shoulder, Ryan, is something that the Royals now have seen in 2 straight starts. Brian Bannister leaving the game early with a tired arm in Oakland in the 2nd inning, and now Gil Mesh. That's back-to-back spots in the rotation. So Royals having both of those pitchers visit the doctor today, and they'll see how this thing plays out. They want to be cautious, but they've got Robinson Tejeda, possibly Bruce Chen to fill in if need be for Bannister, and then Omaha's season ending early next week, and they could tap into Omaha's roster as well. As for Robinson Tejeda, you mentioned it, Ryan, that he made 1 start last year. It was a spot start, and it went very well for him, going 5 innings against Cleveland. That one was last minute, and Trey Hillman saying today, no pitch count. They don't want to put any pressure on Robinson Tejeda. Just let him go out there and see how it goes for him. Paul Splitter, a good observation as well on our pregame show a few minutes ago, saying, you know, with Tejeda, usually you can tell right away if he's firing balls or strikes how good he's going to be. As a starter, a little bit more time to get into a rhythm tonight, guys.
All right, Joel, and the question comes up, Frank, as we start looking forward to 2010. Should he be a candidate for the starting rotation?
Well, I think right now he's definitely got to be a candidate. You know, the way the 4th and 5th starters performed this year, and the way he's gone out and got those 3-inning stints that he got, and he pitched very well. The one thing about him, though, is that if he can mix in his other pitches when his fastball's not there, he's shown good command of his slider and his split finger and even his changeup, and that'll get him through some innings.
Well, he will first face Sean Figgins, and all he's done this year is hit .310. And when he gets on base, he's stole 39, which is the 3rd most in the American League. And the Angels are going to come at you with a whole lot of speed. That hasn't changed over the years. But they just have so much balance in their lineup this year. There really is no easy out. And Tejeda on target with strike 1. The Angels last month, and it was on August the 19th, they had 8 300 hitters in the lineup. That was the first time in Major League history since 1934. And Mike Scioscia's teams have always had good speed, good pitching, good defense, and just enough offense. But the pitching is actually down this year. They've had some key guys on the disabled list. And the offense has really picked up the slack. It's 1-2 to Figgins. We had rain all day in Kansas City, but we were told all day that eventually it was going to clear out, and it has. And a pleasant 67 degrees. Game started at 7:11 Central Daylight Time. Time and temp brought to you by the Parking Spot. Easy to spot, easy to park. The Parking Spot at KCI. Running it up there at 96 miles an hour. And that's a question I would have, Frank. Does Tejeda try and pace himself, pull back just a little bit, and trade some velocity for more innings tonight?
I talked to John Buck about that. If he was going to do anything different with him, he says, I'm going to have to try to make him pitch. And I think he wants to try to make him use the secondary pitches. And if the fastball shows that it's going to be erratic, then go back to his splitter, go back to his slider, pitches that he feels like he can command and get him back on track. So it's going to be a matter of stretching him out through the innings now, as he did when he came out those 3-inning stints that he was getting earlier, and just try to get him through that 3 innings and possibly another couple more.
Figgins works a full count. In addition to his batting average and his stolen bases, Sean Figgins has also worked 82 walks. He has scored exactly 100 runs. That's the most in the American League. And he got him looking at a fastball. So he didn't try and trick him once he got to 3-2, and Figgins obviously was waiting for something else.
But when you got a 96-mile-an-hour fastball, can get up to 97, you really don't have to trick them right there. You just throw it right down the middle and see what happens. You just don't want to walk these guys.
Tom Hallion calling the balls and strikes and is auditioning for the next Naked Gun movie. If I'm the casting director, I would have given that to him 5 years ago.
He's got the move, but does he have the walk?
Character made famous by Leslie Nielsen. I don't remember how the movie went, but he somehow ended up being home plate umpire at a game at Dodger Stadium and was really working the crowd. The crowd was working him, and strike three call turned out to be pirouetting behind home plate, moonwalking around home plate. 1-1 on Mysir Isturis. 1 ball, 2 strikes. That's right. Kevin Schenk is reminding me that Leslie Nielsen was protecting the Queen of England, and Reggie Jackson had been programmed to be an assassin. So in order to prevent Reggie Jackson from doing that, Leslie Nielsen dressed up as the umpire. Available at a video store near you. 1 on, 1 out for the Angels in the first inning. Defensively for the Royals, David DeJesus, Josh Anderson, and Mitch Meyer in the outfield, with Mark Tian, Yuniesky Betancourt, Alberto Callaspo, and Billy Butler on the infield. And John Buck getting the start behind home plate, which wasn't a surprise tonight because with Gil Mesh starting, you figured John Buck was going to be back there. But when Gil was scratched, trade left John Buck in the lineup because Buck works well with Tejeda as he does with Gil Mesh. Isturis has stolen 11 bases this year. And here's Bobby Abreu, and the Royals might be catching him at the right time. He is in a small slump at the moment, but is having a big year overall. And continues to surprise with his speed. He has 27 stolen bases. It's the 10th consecutive year he's had at least 20 stolen bases.
He's got a nice short swing, and it gets to the fastball a lot easier. But they say he's really been kind of the glue that held that team together when Guerrero and Hunter were on the DL.
It hasn't been a huge number for Abreu in regard to home runs, doubles, triples, but the statistic that really jumps out, and the most important one, 86 RBIs. One and one. The down economy really came at a bad time for Abreu. He was a free agent after some good years with the Yankees and was hoping for a big contract, and the Angels got a great deal for 1 year at a very low price. So I'm sure that's been some motivation for Abreu to turn that into an even bigger contract this offseason.
I think the one thing that really stands out is his ability to continue to steal bases for a guy his size. And you look for maybe a little more power out of him. I mean, he has the ability to hit more than the home runs that he has right now, but it looks like he's just turned into just a real good, well-rounded player.
2 balls, 1 strike. Abreu has a couple of 30-30 seasons under his belt when he was with the Phillies in 2001 and 2004. At least 30 home runs and at least 30 stolen bases. Challenge him with a fastball, and it's 2-2.
Well, he challenged him in a good spot because I don't think that ball there can be hit. Not at 96, 97 miles an hour. I mean, that's right there. It's one that looks like a beach ball. When you swing it, it looks like a golf ball.
Still 2 balls, 2 strikes. Abreu joined some elite company this year. He became the 6th player, and you have to hang on for this one, but 250 home runs, 2,000 hits, 1,000 runs, 1,000 RBIs, 1,000 walks, and 300 stolen bases in his career. So very impressive numbers. As Torres is going to have to hustle back to first. He was on the move, but beats the throw from Josh Anderson.
You want to, like you talk about swatting flies, and that was kind of like that swing right here on this pitch. It just gets in on your hands. You can't get there, and you just try to do the best job you can get to, but this ball beats him big time inside. And when you go to commit your swing, and you think you're going to get through it, and all of a sudden it starts to come down, and you figure the ball is further in. Now you got to stop everything right there. And you're just fortunate the ball was able to even hit the bat on that pitch.
Now here's a hitter who's made a living swinging at pitches like that. Going for it all and misses. And John Buck's throw to Butler very close. Almost got his Turris.
See, that's the one play right there where you're the first baseman, you got to anticipate that throw back. Billy almost relaxed, and then all of a sudden the ball is coming. So anytime you want to catch that ball and you want to go back and make that tag, to me as a defensive player, you got to be thinking about getting down on one knee and really trying to make that tag a lot quicker rather than staying straight up and trying to reach all the way down.
Go down with the ball?
Take the ball down with you, yeah. And it'll take you right into the play and makes you look a lot better. Anytime you have to reach, it just doesn't look as good to the umpire.
Well, the Royals are going to have to find some ways to slow down the Angels. They are second in the American League in stolen bases, and we know that John Buck, the last couple years, has had a tough time slowing down the running game. And Trey Hillman, before the game tonight, talking about that the responsibility is also Tejeda's tonight to make sure he's quick to the plate as his Torres takes off and Buck doesn't bother throwing.
No chance.
And so when you say no chance, then I assume you're saying that was a stolen base against Tejeda, not John Buck.
And when a catcher can't even get a throw off, it's definitely against the pitcher. And he's looking at spacing. If he makes a throw, he looks where the runner is, and well, now he's got a shot. He had no shot on that one.
He's got a good fastball tonight. 2-2 on Guerrero. Talk about a huge letdown. The Angels had Vladimir Guerrero and Torrey Hunter go on the disabled list the same day on July the 10th. How did he get to that pitch? Driving it to left. And DeJesus makes the catch. Guerrero took that one off the ground and just golfed it to left. Ball one on David DeJesus, who hit .290 on the road trip with 2 home runs, drove in 6, and had a great road trip on defense. So the talk continues, is David playing good enough on defense to warrant winning a Gold Glove? And Gold Gloves aren't often handed out to the corner outfielders. It's usually 3 center fielders, although Ichiro Suzuki is on a nice run after playing a combination of center field and right field, mostly right field for the Mariners.
I think a lot of it goes back to the infielders. You're really designated third base, shortstop, second base, first base, catcher, pitcher. But in the outfield, everybody's lumped into the outfield category.
As Torres gets DeJesus one away.
So when the coaches and managers are voting, they're basically saying who are the best outfielders versus saying who's the best left fielder, right fielder, center fielder. That's why you end up a lot of times with center fielders on the list.
Here are the Angels defensively, and there is not a lot of room on defense. They cover ground on the infield and in the outfield. Torrey Hunter has the 8 Gold Gloves. Mike Napoli will catch the game for Jared Weaver tonight. What's the best explanation you've heard why they don't go individual spots in the outfield like they do on the infield?
I've never heard one.
Eric Ibar throws low, and Morales makes a nice backhand pick.
Well, Ibar came up just a little bit short right here, Ryan. He really just didn't follow through that throw. He just more of a casual throw than a throw that you really want to get something behind it and get it over to first base.
So 2 ground ball outs for Weaver, and now Billy Butler. Billy was just 4 out of 20 in Seattle and Oakland, but one of those hits was his first triple in 2 seasons and over 1,000 at-bats. So he's got 1 triple to go with his 41 doubles. Jared Weaver, 26 years old now. He was the first-round pick of the Angels back in 2004. His older brother, Jeff, pitching for the Dodgers, and those two hooked up in interleague play, with older brother Jeff beating Jared on June the 20th. Two and one on Butler.
I remember seeing highlights of that performance, and you see the parents in the stands that have half Dodger, half Angel jerseys on. That's got to be tough for parents to sit there and watch a duel like that.
Unfortunately, that game was in Anaheim, so they used the American League rules. If it was at Dodger Stadium, they would have had a chance to pitch to one another. Billy into left center field, got underneath it, and Rivera is there to make the catch. It's an easy first inning for Weaver. So the Angels coming up in the second inning. Torrey Hunter, Kendry Morales, and Juan Rivera against Robinson Tejeda, who gave up just a one-out single in the first inning. Royals didn't see Torrey Hunter when the Angels were here right after the All-Star break, but boy, did they ever see him back in May at Anaheim when he saved a game in the top of the ninth inning, taking a home run away from Miguel Olivo, helping the Angels sweep the three-game series. Olivo with home run distance with a man on. That would have tied the game, but Hunter going from straightaway center field, running into deepest left center field with not only his glove but his elbow over the wall in left center to bring the home run back.
That's one of the great plays. You still see it on highlight films around the league. I talked to him earlier today, and he's one of the most pleasant guys to talk to, and he was just saying that since he's been back, he just, even though he's starting to get some base hits, he still doesn't feel quite where he was before he got hurt.
He was out with a strain to his right side, so that would be his backside as he faces Robinson Tejeda. A rib cage muscle. And Tejeda strikes him out. So 2 strikeouts for Robinson, 1 down. And on the topic of Torrey Hunter and his 8 Gold Gloves, we ask you, will David DeJesus win a Gold Glove this season? Very simple. A, yes. B, no. Text 432-432. Enter keyword Royals, followed by a space. And then A or B. Standard text rates apply. And now Kendry Morales. And what a year he's having. He is an MVP candidate. This is his first full year in the big leagues. 30 home runs, 94 RBIs, 37 doubles. No balls, 2 strikes. The Angels, you might remember last year at the trading deadline, picked up Mark Teixeira from the Braves. And Teixeira had an excellent finish to the season. And the Angels tried to re-sign him. Another switch-hitting first baseman. But the Yankees ended up signing him to a huge deal. So the job became Morales. And the Angels had high hopes for him ever since he defected from Cuba. He had a lot of time off from playing. Tried to defect from Cuba 8 times and was caught. Several times was sent to jail. On the 9th attempt, he finally was successful, and he had a long layoff from playing the game, so it took him a while to get back. So now you ask yourself, how much of a loss was it really by losing Mark Teixeira, with Teixeira going to the Yankees? Both are MVP candidates. At least financially, the Angels are better off with Kendry Morales.
That's true. And Teixeira being a Gold Glove guy, I mean, he really hasn't fallen off with only six errors from Morales. So I think it's a great deal for the Angels right now.
Morales was not only stuck behind Teixeira last year, but also Casey Kochman. Well, here's the comparison. Morales, the better average. Teixeira, a little bit of an edge in home runs and RBIs. Morales, better slugging percentage, but one guy's making almost $21 million. Morales is making $1.1 million.
You have to weigh heavily to the left side on that one.
Now ball one on Juan Rivera, who also, like Morales, getting a chance to play every day this year and is making the most of that. Hitting over 300. He has homered 21 times. A player that was stuck behind Garrett Anderson in left field, Vladimir Guerrero in right. Anderson has moved on. Guerrero's been on the disabled list and been used mostly as a DH. in and out of the Angels television booth. There's Steve Physiak on the right, who's from Kansas City. So he enjoyed the off day yesterday that the Angels had here. And on the left is former Angels outfielder Rex Hudler.
Well, it looks like he subscribed to my theory, let it hit, and then he went back out, but he ended up with a ball in his hand anyway.
He always has a ball in his hand.
It's like having a pet rock, you know.
Robinson Tejeda strikes out the side, and he has 4 strikeouts in 2 innings. And 0-1 on Mike Jacobs. You can't beat fun at the old ballpark.
You have to really go and practice that. I mean, that just don't come to you. You got to think of that one.
And I'm thinking you have to stretch before the game. You better make sure your back is in good order.
Definitely your back. But it's unique.
You have to make sure that you have the count right. Every now and then we'll see an umpire ring a guy up, but there's only 2 strikes. You're really setting yourself up to hear it from both dugouts if you don't have the count right. Through the right side. Jacobs has been swinging the bat well over the past 2 weeks. It hasn't shown in his batting average. He's had several lineouts, especially up the middle into center field. And a leadoff single here in the bottom of the 2nd inning.
Well, he has been squaring the ball up, Ryan. You see it. He just really hit around that one just a little bit. And you see how his hands start to turn over right at the point of contact. He stayed through that ball a little bit longer, and now he hits a line drive. So that's what forced him to hit around the ball. But he found a nice hole on the right side for a base hit.
Jared Weaver had a 1-2-3 first inning. And now pitches to Alberto Callaspo. Really swung the bat well on the last road trip. He had 346 at Seattle and Oakland. He drove in 8 runs, including 5 in the Oakland series. Exactly 1 month to go for the Royals. 1 month from today, the Royals will help the Minnesota Twins close down the Metrodome in Minneapolis and the 2009 regular season. And so that's how much time Alberto has to get that average up above 300 again at 293 coming into tonight. Alberto finished at 305 last year. To Ibar, out at second, and a double play. This is about as slick a fielding infield as there is in the whole league.
The fastball really stayed on this slider. Ryan hit it just the way he's supposed to. He hit it hard, but Ibar slid over, and his Sirius made a nice pivot at second base for the double play.
Those guys can really move up the middle, can't they?
Oh, yeah.
So 2 down to Mark Tien with nobody on. A slow curveball in for strike 1. Tien hitting just 217 on the trip. So his average, his overall average, falling below 280. Jammed, shallow center field, and it drops in front of Torrey Hunter.
Sometimes, Ryan, it's good to get jammed right here. He comes out, when he first hits his ball, he probably says, oh man, this is a bad swing, bad results, but you can see him hit the ball right at the trademark and just got some luck out in center field on that swing.
So 2 hits in the inning, but only 1 runner because of the double play. And that brings up John Buck. Weaver makes a good pitch down in the strike zone, 0-1. Buck with just 9 at-bats on the trip, 2 hits, but those are both extra base hits, a home run and a double during the Seattle series.
Those are probably 2 of the better at-bats he's had all year, where he just came in and stayed behind the ball and let the ball travel. Drove 1 ball in the right center and then drove 1 in the right field bleachers the opposite way. So if he can just stay over the ball and not try to get too pull happy, he could probably do that quite a bit more. And that's one of the toughest things, Ryan, when you're not playing a lot, is just staying with a consistent plan at the plate, because you never know when that's going to come. So it's hard to keep practicing, and then but you got to stay with it, because you always have to be ready.
Trying to go the other way. No balls, 2 strikes. Well, you can tell by the way Weaver strides to the plate, and with his arm angle, he'd be tough on a righty, and you really got to keep your front shoulder in there. And righty's only hitting 203 against him. When he strides to the plate, he's almost striding more towards third base than he is home plate.
He has the ball a long time, and righties don't see it for a while, and that's why it's easy for him to get in on your hands quite a bit.
One and two.
If you take a look where he lands, Ryan, he's way outside of where Tejeda lands. Tejeda's he's got the mark on the back, so he really throws across his body big time.
Left it out over the plate. Napoli wanted that pitch away. Driven to deep center with Torrey Hunter right in front of the track. The wind is blowing in and the air is heavy tonight. Middleton and Johnny Damon put the Royals up with ninth inning RBIs. And on this date, in 1950, a legendary performance by Frank White's mother as she gave birth to Frank White Jr., who turns 59 today. Happy birthday.
Thank you, Ryan. I appreciate it very much. Thanks, Mom.
Mrs. White, you've done well. There's the statue and the outfield experience in right center field. And of course in left field on top of the Royals Hall of Fame, no one other than Frank White will ever wear number 20.
I'll let you wear it.
Would you really?
Yeah, tell me when you want it. I'll let you wear it.
Really?
Yeah.
Does that mean they'll temporarily take it down off the Hall of Fame?
Well, we can't wear that one. That's we go to fantasy camp with it.
I'll take you up on that. Lined almost through to Jesus. So Napoli is out.
And that's a good indication of how well David has really adapted to left field, because you just have to remember that right-hander's ball will hook back to your right, and on this ball here was hit so hard he started to his left and then readjusted and came back to his right to make the play.
Well, the feeling has been for the last few years here that David DeJesus was a good center fielder, but he could be a great left fielder. And that has proven to be true this year. Eric Ibar, another Angel hitting over 300. How about your number 9 hitter hitting over 300 with 49 RBIs and 13 stolen bases? This is what good teams can do, and Ibar's been around for a while, but I think still considered a young player. But you can ease a guy into a lineup on a good team. He can bat 7, 8, or 9. There isn't a lot of pressure on him, and you can tell a guy like Ibar, hey, just go play defense, just put the ball in play. That's all we want you to do.
Hey, he's a smart hitter. I was going to just say, he can move the ball around, he can bunt, he can do a lot of things with the bat that can put the defense not at ease, but make them uncomfortable because of what he can do with the bat. I've seen him take the bat and slap the ball to the shortstop. But here, this is a real good bunt here. And Mark Tien does an excellent job coming in and throwing over the top and getting a lot on this throw.
In my humble opinion, I've always believed Mark Tien is as good as any third baseman on that play.
Now, he hasn't let me down on that play either. I believe I'm right with you on that one.
So 2 down. And now strike on Sean Figgins. Here's tonight's league leaders, brought to you by your Kansas City area Toyota dealers. And Sean Figgins right at 100 runs, leading the American League. In front of a couple of Yankees who are scoring runs like crazy. And it's going to be another easy inning for Tejeda. So he's given up a single in the first inning. And now he's retired the last 8. president and founder of the Lincoln, Nebraska chapter of Mad Dads, a group that strives to reduce gang violence and illegal drugs in the community. And behind Coleman's leadership, the Lincoln chapter collects, fixes, and repairs bikes to donate to youth in the community. And enjoying tonight's game from the Buck O'Neill Legacy seat. Yuniesky Betancourt hitting right around his average on the trip. It began well with a home run on Thursday at Seattle against his former team, but hit just .240 in the rest of that series, and then on to Oakland. He'll be followed by Josh Anderson and then David DeJesus. Down on strikes, and that's Weaver's first. Here's tonight's Roadrunner Turbo speed pitch comparison from the first 2 innings. Robinson Tejeda, well, so much for pulling back, making the start tonight. He's still throwing 97. Weaver at 91. You can double your speed with Roadrunner Turbo from Time Warner Cable. Ball one on Josh Anderson, who hit over 300 on the trip. Also added his 17th stolen base of the year. Two and 0.
This situation here, Ryan, where you get your speed guys like Josh Anderson up, it's 2-0. His legs are his biggest weapon. This one you just really do what he did right there. Just make the pitcher throw a strike. A walk is as good as a hit to guys like Josh Anderson who you want to get on base.
Got it in on the hands and a slow roller to his Turris for the second out. Saturday afternoons were made for baseball. This week, Fox brings you the national game of the week as Dustin Pedroia and the Red Sox take on Paul Konerko and the White Sox in a pivotal game for both teams' playoff chances. Fox Saturday Baseball this week at 3 p.m. on Fox. So 2 down now. David DeJesus, who grounded hard to his Turris at second base his first time up. And Weaver flips in a curve for strike one. Boy, look at Napoli. That pitch hit the inside corner, but when he sets up inside, he sets up way inside.
Well, he wants to get behind that back leg, and he wants to make sure that Jared Weaver understands where he wants this pitch. And he missed the spot, but he was able to get the ball on the inside corner, which is just as effective.
Wanted that pitch up. Still 1-2.
Oh. Well, the one thing about setting up behind the back leg, Ryan, is you know if the ball is hit, it's going to be hit foul. You're just going for effect when you're going inside. And he's a full glove off the plate. Now he goes up to change the eye level up, and then he's able to do some things away on the outer half of the plate.
And look at him blocking that ball. There's nobody on base, so no one's going to advance. But there was no, as they call it in hockey terms, a 5-hole. There was no space for that ball to get through his legs.
Now, you don't want to do that, especially with 2 strikes, and you don't want David to swing through a ball and the ball get away and you get a free base that way.
Three balls, 2 strikes. David tonight, the subject of our You Call It, presented by Sprint. Will David win a Gold Glove this season? 66% saying yes. Keep texting 432-432, keyword Royals, a space, A for yes, B for no. David is 0 for 2 tonight, and the Royals are down in order in the third inning. Helping the Royals split a 4-game series at the Mariners. It was the 17th one-hitter in Royals history and Zach's first. One ball, one strike on Meiser is Turris. Single to right in the first inning, stole second. That's the only Angels base runner. Tejeda's retired the last 8. One ball, two strikes. The third annual Viva Los Royals, presented by Sprint, is tomorrow night. You'll enjoy live pregame entertainment with music from War, local favorite Las Estrellas, and appearances from Angelica Valle and singer Rick Trevino. Festivities begin at 4 o'clock, and the first 20,000 fans receive a Royals barbecue apron. Remember, tomorrow's game is a 6:10 first pitch. Low rider.
Get a little lower. You got the base for that.
On the corner, 5 strikeouts for Tejeda and 9 in a row retired. And just in case we weren't sure about the call.
That's what you call hitting the glove right there, Ryan. And going back to the original question at the start of the broadcast, do you think Tejeda should be in line for maybe a 4th or 5th starter spot next year?
Well, why not? He's a 3-pitch pitcher, right?
I like three above average pitchers.
And when he's had trouble this year, it's been with throwing strikes. But then again, you have to remember the mentality of coming out of the bullpen and figuring, I've got 3 hitters, maybe 4 hitters. I'm going to come out with my best stuff, and sometimes that lends itself to overthrowing, where in a start he might pace himself a little more, pull back. I mean, he pulls back just a little bit, he's still pretty good.
And it gets utilized as other pitches, and I think that's what makes his fastball that much better, because he's able to throw his split finger and his slider both, and he's also has the changeup that he uses occasionally also. So I think all those factors really lend to how well tonight he's been able to adapt from going to the bullpen to the starting role.
Still pitching out of the stretch with nobody on base. 10 straight retired as he gets Abreu, who's 0 for 2. Royals baseball brought to you tonight by the State of Missouri Tobacco Quit Line. Call 1-800-QUIT-NOW. I think it was 2 years ago, Frank, that the Royals had a need in the rotation, a temporary need, and they moved Leo Nunez to the rotation. And I don't know if there's anyone who's more max effort than Leo Nunez is, but it really brought out the best in him, because he had to pace himself. He couldn't think about going 4 or 5 innings with as much effort as he used coming out of the bullpen. He started using his other pitches, and the results were pretty good.
Well, they were good, and I think early in the year, and we talked about this a lot too, it mattered to Trey Hillman use Robinson Tejeda as more of a setup guy in the middle, and he was used to going those 2 innings when he came out of the bullpen.
Well, tonight he's retired 11 in a row. Well, tonight is game 1 with the Angels. Game 4 is on Labor Day. And that's a 1:10 game Monday afternoon. And it's part of a Royal night, even though it's an afternoon game. So that means $5 upper level tickets for the Royals and the Angels. Now, good pitching so far. Jared Weaver has given up 2 hits. Robinson Tejeda 1. That'll land in the seats back of the Angels dugout. It's 0-2 on Mitch Meyer. Grounded out to shortstop in the first inning. Last home game the Royals played, Mitch Meyer, or second to last home game, hit his first major league home run. And then all of a sudden he had 3 home runs in 5 days after he homered twice in the Seattle series.
I don't think we've seen a bigger smile on a player's face this year than Mitch hitting his first home run.
Napoli runs to the outside to get the angle. Second strikeout for Jared Weaver. Nebraska football returns tomorrow against Florida Atlantic University, and many of the cable and video operators in our Royals viewing area will offer the game on pay-per-view for $29.95, and you'll only be able to see it on pay-per-view. So access your digital program guide or call your local cable or video provider to order the game today or tonight. Billy Butler flied to left in the first inning. Billy will always remember the Angels fondly because 2 years ago, in his first year in the big leagues, he got his first big league hit against the Angels right here at Kauffman Stadium. And then later in the year, when the Royals were in Anaheim, he got his first big league home run. Very high to shallow center field. And again, the wind is blowing in, and because of the rain, the air is heavy, so you're really going to have to get into one tonight to drive it out of the ballpark. 2 down in the 4th inning. If I was reading the radar correctly today, most of that rain was coming out of the southeast.
That's unusual.
Yeah. Mike Jacobs singled leading off the 2nd inning, but then was erased when Callaspo hit into a double play. One and one. By going 3 2/3 tonight, Jared Weaver has now established a new career high for innings pitched. And he's working on a couple of milestones tonight. He's accomplished the innings pitched portion of it. And with a win tonight would be a new career high for him, 14. Changeup had Jacobs out in front, 2-2. Off the end of the bat and into right center field. Jacobs might be thinking about 2. He is. And he beats the throw for a 2-out double.
Well, this is a changeup, Ryan, that just tried to go down and away, and he was able to go out and just take it right off the end of the bat. You see how those wrists roll over before contact, and that's where that missed hit comes from, and that's when he gets to roll over. But he was able to hit this ball right in the alley, and the ball really goes in when it hits the ground in the alleys here in KC, and Jake Cox hustling in the second base for the double.
So the Royals' first runner at second base tonight. Strike on Alberto Callaspo. Grounded sharply in the 2nd inning, but right at Ibar at shortstop, who turned it into a 6-4-3 double play. One and one. Royals got Alberto from the Diamondbacks, but he's originally from the Angels organization. Nice stop by Napoli. It's 2-1.
Well, that was a nice play by Mike. He was expecting the ball to be on the outer half, and the ball went inside, and he was able to get over there and block it. And that's those skills that catchers that make good catches invaluable, especially with men on base and in 2-strike situations.
Two balls, 2 strikes. In a casual conversation about catchers, typically we'll talk about how strong their arm is, how well they handle a pitching staff. what are they doing in situations like this when he goes out to the mound and makes a suggestion to Jared Weaver to get the final out of the inning? But we don't talk very often about how quick their feet are. It seems like that's more reserved for the infielders, but Napoli really moving well behind home plate.
Well, you judge them on the lateral movement and blocking balls and how quick their feet move in order to get the throw off on the steal attempt. Those are two of the areas that we don't discuss a lot, but it makes catchers what they really are. And if you're going to call for a strikeout pitch down, you better be ready.
Deep right center field. Abreu was shallow. That ball doesn't reach the warning track, but there was nobody there. So the Royals take the lead, and Callaspo is in with a triple. So the Angels were not expecting that.
With the heavy air, and you're trying to worry more about the balls that are going to drop in front of you, Caspo was able to see how he got through this ball, then his wrist turned over, and that's where the drive comes through in this ball, and Abreu got caught playing a little shallow right there. Like you said, right, that ball hit on the grass. It didn't hit the warning track at all, but that's just what the Angels do in their outfield. They want to take the short balls away and hope that they can run balls like that down, but that one beat him in fine fashion right there.
I'll bet both sides right now feel like they got burned. The Angels, because they're playing shallow, and with different conditions, I'll bet Alberto Callaspo thought he should have had a home run.
That's the typical ball he hits a home run on right there. And right now, it just a base hit in the RBI. He'll settle for that.
The Royals with 45 triples to lead the league and 10 more in Minnesota. So Callaspo comes through with 2 outs. Now the Royals hoping Mark Teahen does the same. Mark singled in the second inning. Got jammed by Weaver, but muscled it out into shallow center. Lays off the changeup, ball 1.
Now you take a look at this swing here, and look where the ball is, and then Abreu is when he takes off. I mean, it beats him by a lot. It's almost like he expected him to hit the ball the other way.
On the corner, 1 ball, 1 strike.
Well, it never hurts to get a hit against your old team, especially driving and run with it too.
Well, for Kansas Cityans, I'm guessing tonight feels cool, but for the Royals, this is just a continuation of the weather that they had in Seattle and Oakland.
This is beautiful. I mean, this is baseball weather here. You don't like the dampness of it in the air, but it was a great road trip in Seattle and Oakland. But this is a good, what they call it, September is always a good pick-me-up after a hot August. But we didn't really have a hot August by Kansas City standards.
Three balls, 1 strike on Teahen. So Weaver trying to get Teahen to chase low in the zone. Mark has laid off a changeup and now a slider.
And like, go back to Napoli again. He's doing just an outstanding job of blocking. He gets down and covers that area between his legs as well as any, and just lets the ball settle in.
And the Angels are going to move from a 280 hitter in Mark Teahen, who is way ahead in the count, 3 balls, 1 strike, and instead go after John Buck, who flied out to center field in the second inning, and Buck batting at 211. But with runners in scoring position, almost 200 points better.
And he really drove the ball well his first time up. I think the heavy air hurt his first at bat. He had a real good approach on a slider, tried to hit it the other way. And Torrey Hunter was able to run down a long fly ball because of the heavy wind. I mean, the heavy air here in KC.
Ball 1. So with 2 outs, nobody on, Mike Jacobs with a hustling double. Alberto Callaspo scores him with a triple. Mark Teahen an intentional walk. 2-0, and again Napoli down to his knees and sealing off any kind of a gap that will allow the ball to get to the screen.
Well, right now he's put on a clinic back there how to block balls.
That's the second time against John Buck that Napoli wanted that pitch more off the plate, and Weaver left it right out over the plate.
That's that changeup that he wanted to go down, but the ball ran back over the plate. Now, I kind of been watching him go in behind the leg of certain hitters, and especially left-handed hitters. I think he's had a tendency for his ball to run back over the plate, so I think he over-exaggerates the inner half to make sure the ball gets on the inside part of the plate.
Thinking Etienne might take off on a 2-1 pitch. Mark 7 for 7 in stolen base attempts. Again, out over the plate, but fouled away. So Weaver has gotten away with a couple against John Buck.
And those are the ones you don't want to let a pitcher get away with. When they leave it down the middle of the plate, you want to square it up. And sometimes when you may be trying to swing a little too hard, it takes you off the ball just a little bit more than you want to be. So with 2 strikes, you can look for John to kind of shorten that up a little bit.
Three and 2.
This situation here at first base, not holding Mark Tien on any extra base hit, he's going to score. Normally you would hold him with a right-handed hitter to maybe try to hold him at third base on an extra base hit, but with Clam behind him and he's running 3-2, it just opens that up for him to be able to score.
Buck is down on strikes, but the Royals are on the scoreboard. Alberto Callasco's triple getting Mike Jacobs to the plate, giving pitch count or limited to innings, but I think if you'd have told Trey Hillman 4 innings from Tejeda and he would leave with the Royals in front, he would take it. Now he's working on his 5th shutout inning.
He's done an outstanding job of just staying in the strike zone, utilizing all of his pitches, and he's working at a good pace. You know, he's not really wearing himself out by a lot of deep counts. He's just going right after the hitters with all of his pitches, and here we are in the 5th inning.
Gave up a base hit in the 1st inning, but now he has retired 11 in a row, working to Torrey Hunter to begin the top of the 5th inning and throws strike 1. Torrey Hunter struck out swinging in the 2nd inning. Tejeda struck out 5 in the first 4, including striking out the side in the 2nd when he got Hunter, Morales, and Rivera, who have a combined 70 home runs. And Hunter fooled badly, no balls, 2 strikes.
And that's one of the things they probably talked about Tejeda in the meetings, saying, well, he's just going to throw fastballs. He's going to come after you with that 97-mile-an-hour fastball. He's a bullpen guy. But he's actually pitching right now. I mean, that was a nice off-speed breaking ball. There's another cutter on the outside part of the plate at 87 miles an hour. I mean, that to me, that's good. That's a good mix of pitches. John Buck's done an outstanding job with him tonight.
Well, if he keeps pitching at this pace, he may go 6. Who knows? Maybe even longer than that. 57 pitches in 4 1/3, and a 43-14 strike-to-ball ratio. No walks for Tejeda on the James B. Nutter pitch count. And that's one stat that has hurt Robinson Tejeda throughout his major league career. Walks per 9 innings pitched. And coming into tonight, 30 walks in 42 innings. So when he throws strikes, he's about as tough as any pitcher the Royals have. His opponent's batting average is below 190, and that's going to go even lower tonight with the Angels having just 1 hit in 4 1/3 innings.
Well, I can see where a pitching coach seeing him and seeing his velocity, seeing him coming out of the pen, they probably looked at him as a setup guy, as a closer, as a starter. But I think I can see him say, well, use your fastball. And so he goes out there and just uses his fastball. So his fastball command is off. Now that's when the walks show up. But now he's using everything. Using his splitter, using his cutter, using his changeup, and he's using them in good spots.
Trey Hillman saying before the game tonight that Robinson very easy to work with, and when Bob McClure makes suggestions, Tejeda very coachable. He isn't selfish at all, and has never griped about what his role has been since becoming a Royal. And he's had a few different roles. Done a lot of work with Bob McClure. One of the first things Bob McClure got him to do last year when he arrived was to drop his arm angle down a little bit. Still 2-2 on Morales.
Well, you know, some of the roles that he had early in the year were pretty important roles. When the starter went out in the 4th, 5th, early in the 6th inning, he'd come in. He maybe have to go 2 innings, and I know you gave him the middle of the game stopper role, but that's an important role for him. And it's not like you're coming out of the pen just do a mop-up inning or whatever. I mean, so then there were times when the starter went out even earlier. He'd come in, he'd throw 3 innings. And keep you in the ball game. So he does have that ability to pitch the way he's pitching tonight.
Joe telling us in the 1st inning that both Gil Mesh and Brian Bannister are meeting with the Royals team doctors before the game tonight, and both either coming out early in a start or being scratched. In the case with Mesh tonight because of shoulder fatigue, and thank goodness Tejeda didn't grab that ball with his bare hand. So he's retired 13 in a row, 2 down in the 5th inning.
Now this is what you never want to see here, a pitcher trying to make a bare hand stab. Looked like he started and just pulled it down, thought about it a little bit on the way up. But he realized he got infielders back there that can make this play. And that Barton came behind second base and made this play really nice.
So with nobody on, Juan Rivera struck out looking in the 2nd inning. Driven to deep left. But again, the ball isn't carrying at all, and that ball didn't even get to the track. Robinson Tejeda has retired 14 straight.
Broadcaster from Bloomington, Illinois, with only a scant resume, a demo tape, and a dream, the veteran Blattner knew he had found his man. Denny telling us today he owes quite a bit of his career to the late Buddy Blattner. Guys.
Somehow Unievsky Betancourt got around the slide of Myceres Turris, and Mike Sosha does not agree. He comes sprinting out of the third base dugout. Well, a good start for the Royals, a runner at second base and nobody out.
That was a good hustle play all the way, Ryan. And we mainly made the decision to go on the fact that Torrey Hunter had to go over in the left center, and he rounded this ball rather than backhanded this ball, and he just left home plate right away, knowing that he wasn't going to stop at first base. He was going to try to stretch this into a double. And now what he does now, he watches how the throw's coming in, and that's how he decided how he was going to slide to the inside and try and be safe on this play. Now you see where the umpire is. And he's working hard to get in a position to see this play. And you got to give him credit for that. But he might have been screened out a little bit.
Now Josh Anderson trying to bunt Betancourt over to third base. Well, more on Buddy Blattner. He was, as Joel said, the original voice of the Royals. He was a former Major League player. He played with the St. Louis Cardinals, the Philadelphia Phillies, the New York Giants. And 1 year after his career was over as a player in '49, he got into the broadcasting business. Popped up. 3 Angels are there, and it's Morales coming in from first. So Anderson heads back to the dugout with Betancourt still at second base. Buddy Blattner was also one of the national voices of baseball. He was the voice of the National Game of the Week with Dizzy Dean. And as Denny has told me so many times, and Denny considers him his mentor and said he was an excellent baseball broadcaster, but Denny will also tell you he thinks he might have been one of the best ever basketball announcers. He was the play-by-play voice of the St. Louis Hawks.
Well, we listened to him in our house when he was with the Royals. When the Royals came to town, just a great radio voice to listen to. And Buddy was also a very good ping pong player and tennis player. He was just a real good athlete. And if you go down to the Ozarks around Four Seasons Hotel, you see him down there. That's where he retired down there. So he was just a great guy when I first came up to the big leagues. Just a great guy to just get to know and listen to.
Now, Frank, I have to correct you if you don't mind, but I'm just doing this through a couple of channels. Buddy corrected Denny, who corrected me, and I'm going to correct you. Apparently, if you're really good at that sport, it's not ping pong. It's table tennis. And apparently Buddy would correct Denny all the time. It's table tennis.
Court tennis and table tennis.
Yep.
Table tennis.
Well, he was an excellent tennis player, whether it was on the table or on the court. I think Denny told me before the game tonight that it was just 3 or 4 years ago that Buddy Bladner won some sort of Senior Olympics national tennis tournament. So he was an outstanding athlete. He was 89 years old when he passed away today. And I'm sure Denny and Bob Davis are sharing some stories. Two balls, two strikes on David DeJesus. It is somewhat appropriate that Buddy Bladner is honored today for his life as a broadcaster, because before he came to the Royals, he was the lead announcer for the Angels. So he broadcasted for both of these teams. I think there are very few members of the Angels organization that remember that, but you know, names like Vin Scully and Bob Costas and Joe Buck, some of the great national voices of the game, Buddy Bladner was one of the first. On the corner, forced strikeout for Jared Weaver. So DeJesus is 0 for 3. Royals baseball brought to you tonight by Panera Bread. Explore a menu full of soup, salads, sandwiches, and savory breakfast items. Panera Bread, where every detail matters. And by Miller High Life, good honest beer at a tasty price. Well, this is something the Royals have fought all year. Leadoff double, trying to get that guy home. Betancourt still standing out there with 2 outs. And Weaver several times tonight has gone with that slow curveball for strike 1.
And one thing, when Anderson was trying to bunt him over to third, I mean, they had him surrounded, third base, first base, and the pitcher on that bunt. So he's got to be able to look around and see where's the best place for me to bunt. You want to go to third, but if they're going to crash on you that hard, sometimes you got to pull the bat back and do something else with it. The last 2 bunt attempts he's had, they popped him up. His bat head just not staying above the ball. He's letting it dip below, and even when the ball's up, he still has that same bat angle, and that's why he's popping the ball up in the air.
And for a player like Josh Anderson, and he knows this, but that's a part of his game that is not optional. He has to be very skilled at that.
He's got to get better and continue to grow, and that's going to come with whatever expectations of manager Trey Hillman puts on him to be able to work in that situation, getting with the bunting coach and going back and look at video.
I don't think Mitch Meyer agrees with that call. Royals get a leadoff double, and Betancourt never gets to third. And scoring Mike Jacobs from second base. Coors Light Freeze Can brought to you by Frost Brewed Coors Light, the world's most refreshing beer. Robinson Tejeda filling in for Gil Mesh, who was scratched before the game tonight with fatigue in his right shoulder. He has retired 14 in a row. And a good pitch for strike one on Mike Napoli, who is one of the few Angels tonight who has actually centered the ball against Tejeda. Lined out to left in the third inning. No balls, 2 strikes. So Tejeda's faced 16, retired 15 in the last 14 in a row. One ball, 2 strikes. Starting is not brand new to Robinson Tejeda in the big leagues. He has 47 career starts before tonight, but he had moved to the bullpen with the Rangers before coming to Kansas City. So his role had changed then, but 47 starts, a lot of those with the Phillies, some with the Rangers, and now just a handful with the Royals. Still 2-2. Napoli, when the Angels were here right after the All-Star break, had a couple of big home runs. Angels swept that 3-game series, and in games 1 and 3, Napoli had game-tying home runs. That's when the Royals were in that bad stretch where they were taking leads into the 8th inning and then losing leads and losing the game. 3 balls, 2 strikes.
Yeah, he's got good power out over the plate, and I think one of those home runs went to right field, and anything out over the plate, slightly up, he has a power to drive that ball straight away right field, right center field.
Tien, fooled, I think, by the spin of the ball off the bag. Napoli's out. So 15 in a row retired by Tejeda.
A nice play by Mark right here. The ball kind of rolled up right into his glove, and the way he gets up, Ryan, this way he has trouble kind of getting his feet together. He wants to be able to try to get that good stride, but he just really gets in a big hurry. That right foot kind of went out from under him a little bit, would pull the ball down the line. Billy did a good job coming down the line and making a tag.
Looked like Phil Cuzzi was saying safe first. He had started by getting his hands out to his sides and then signaled out. See what? Safe out. And the rule there is the second call is the one that stands.
My mind was thinking something different than what I was trying to call.
Phil Cuzzi, you might remember during interleague play, got into that argument with Miguel Olivo in Pittsburgh, which resulted in Miguel being suspended for a game. Well, there's still more Ink College nights here at Kauffman Stadium. $7 lower level seats every Wednesday to high school and college students when a valid student ID is presented at the box office. And the next one is September the 9th. That's the Royals and the Tigers at 7:10, and a happy hour with concession specials and the outfield experience. 2-1 on Ibar, who tried to lay down a bunt in the third inning. Mark Teahan making a good play, coming in from third to bare hand and throw him out. Kyle Farnsworth just starting to loosen up. Three and one on Eric Ibar. He had a huge role when the Angels swept the Royals here in July. He was all over the place on defense. And at the plate, he was 8 out of 14 with 5 runs scored, 4 RBIs. And that's the first base runner for the Angels since the first inning. So the string is snapped at 15 in a row, 1 on, 1 out. And Bob McClure wants to go out and have a visit with Tejeda. Sometimes when a pitcher goes a long time without allowing a base runner, they get so comfortable in the windup position and you go back to the stretch and it just feels awkward. But Tejeda won't have to deal with that. He's been pitching out of the stretch all night. So really no adjustment here with a man on base.
Well, he's had a long string of at-bats without a base runner. And with Ivar on first base, you know he's going to be trying to look to run. So just trying to calm him down a little bit, let him get composed. He might be toward the end of what the imaginary pitch count would be, and just trying to make sure he's okay and going to control the running game just a little bit, but don't take the focus away from Figgins at the plate.
Figgins has struck out, flied to left tonight. Great speed on the field right now for the Angels. Figgins takes strike one. So you have 39 stolen bases at the plate and 13 stolen bases at first. Bounces away from John Buck, and no play. Ivar down to second base. Well, they called that a stolen base. I think that's going to be changed to a wild pitch. I don't believe Ivar was running until the ball was in the dirt.
That's right. That shouldn't be a stolen base right there.
Yeah, that's a wild pitch.
We're scoring it as a wild pitch.
Yeah. And they just change it to a wild pitch. That's a tying run at second base, and Ivar doing what a base runner should do, looking to see where the outfielders are playing, and he's noticing that they are playing very shallow for Figgins. This is almost pitcher-like depth.
It's almost like he's the winning run at second base, and you got a man that you want to catch everything in between. But any line driving left and right center, we think it's going to be standing on third base.
Figgins doesn't have very many home runs. He has 3, but he has 26 doubles and 7 triples. He does have some power. And now back-to-back walks with 1 out. So Bob McClure went out after Ibar walks, and now Trey Hillman goes out after Figgins walks. And 2 on base for Farnsworth. fans here tonight, especially those behind the Royals dugout, appreciate what Robinson Tejeda has done, filling in for Gil Mesh. And Robinson didn't know that until he got to the ballpark today. And he gives the Royals 5 1/3 innings, allowing just 1 hit and striking out 6. But he walked the last 2 hitters after 1 out here in the 6th inning. And that's what Kyle Farnsworth inherits as he pitches to Myceres Turris. Turris had the only hit against Tejeda. Didn't mean to go around, and the Royals hoping to get 1 out, and they do thanks to a nice pick by Billy Butler. So as Turris is out, Ibar to third base, Figgins to second.
Now, this wasn't an easy play for Betancourt. He had to go to his right and round this ball off and still make a snap throw to first base. And that's like a little check swing, and he rounds it real good. Gets a strong throw off and a nice short hop. Easy. That's one of those you always expect your first baseman to catch right there, man. Those little easy short hops right there.
And now Bobby Abreu flied to center, grounded out to second against Tejeda. Against Farnsworth, 2 for 7. One of those hits was a home run. And John Buck just saved a run with that backhand play.
Well, that's that hard fastball down in the dirt. You don't have time to shift your body on that one. And you can't ask for a better pick from the catcher than what you got right there from John Buck.
Well, these are the situations where Bobby Abreu takes his game to another level. With 86 RBIs, he's way ahead in the count, 3 balls, no strikes. He's hitting .294. But with runners in scoring position, and there are 2 out there right now, only 1 hitter in the American League has a better batting average. Walked him on 4 pitches, so they're loaded up for Vladimir Guerrero, who is no walk in the park.
But it looks like they were trying to unintentionally pitch around Abreu there. Those pitches were a little bit far off the plate for Farnsworth to be throwing those on purpose. I think they were just trying to get him to chase something off the plate, and with first base open, right-handed hitter coming up next, I think that was acceptable walk in their mind.
So Tejeda and Farnsworth have walked the bases loaded. Guerrero is 0 for 2. That swing was an afterthought and fouls the slider away.
There was one at bat he had early in the year, Ryan, where the ball actually bounced in the dirt before he hit it, and he still got a base hit on it.
Lays off a 98-mile-an-hour fastball, 1-1. 5 grand slams in his career, with a .305 average in these situations, but only 2 at-bats this year. He has Ibar at third, Figgins at second, Abreu at first. They have all walked. And it's 1-2.
Good movement, Ryan, on this fastball. This is one of the first pitches I've seen Farnsworth throw that reacted like a two-seamer rather than a straight fastball. The ball went right down and in under Vladimir Guerrero's swing.
He has unbelievable hand-eye coordination and great reach. And this surprised me with some of the wild swings that he takes. He has never struck out 100 times in a season. I mean, just the way he swings it out, you figure, 120, 130 every year. He's never hit 100.
And he hits a lot of bad balls. I mean, he doesn't swing at a lot of strikes down the middle of the plate. They're off the plate, in, out. They're up a little bit, down a little bit. But he's in his aggressive mode all the way. React that quick.
And still quick enough to foul away a fastball at 100. I mean, he is up there to swing. I don't know if anyone's ever run the idea of taking more pitches to Vladimir Guerrero by him, but he had a year, and I think it was 3 years ago, where he averaged less than one called strike every game. The whole year. Made contact with that one. And Farnsworth, falling backward, gets it to Butler, and the Angels leave the bases loaded, and Farnsworth holds the lead for Tejeda.
We go to the bottom of the sixth, and the Royals are leading 1-0. And this is our Sonic Slam inning, and our contestant is Brad Cohn from Shawnee Mission, Kansas. I'm sorry, Shawnee, Kansas. If the Royals hit a home run this inning, Brad will win $700. But if the Royals hit a grand slam out of the park, Brad will win $25,000 from Sonic and the Kansas City Royals.
I learned that lesson my first year in Kansas City, because I would get stuff in the mail, even though I lived in Overland Park, that said Shawnee Mission, Kansas. So I told people I lived in Shawnee Mission, Kansas. They said there's no such place as Shawnee Mission, Kansas. Well, then why does my address say Shawnee Mission, Kansas?
There you go. Mission, Kansas, and Shawnee.
There you go.
You might want to live in Mission, though.
At those prices?
That's what I said. You might want to live there.
Jamie Wright warming up in the Royals bullpen. Kyle Farnsworth left the field walking very gingerly. So I'm not sure if he tweaked something on an awkward throw to first base for the final out, or perhaps Trey Hillman figured those 2 outs in the 6th was enough. The Royals coming off an off day, so a well-rested bullpen. Billy Butler has flied to left, popped out to short. Trey Hillman back with the club tonight after the passing of his father-in-law. The funeral was yesterday. Butler is 0 for 3, 1 down in the 6th inning. Girls Night Out returns on Thursday, September the 24th, with ticket packages benefiting the American Heart Association. Hy-Vee, Macy's, and 38th The Spot are teaming up for the night to bring you food, fashion, and fun. First 10,000 ladies receive a free Royals shirt from Hy-Vee. Purchase VIP ticket packages and register to win a makeover at royals.com/girlsnightout. 2 hits for Mike Jacobs. He has scored the only run tonight. With 2 outs and nobody on, doubled into right center, just reaching out on a 2-strike pitch to stay alive. Hustled for a double and scored on Callaspo's triple. 1-1. One ball, 2 strikes. No television tomorrow. Our next broadcast will be Sunday afternoon. It's not on the original schedule. We'll be televising Royals and the Angels Sunday in HD, brought to you by Time Warner Cable, where HD is free with digital cable. Jacobs off the end of the bat has his 3rd hit. Well, we say it so often, and year after year it proves to be true. The game has a way of evening itself out, and Mike Jacobs has been lining out all over the place the past couple weeks, and now he's got a few bloop hits tonight, or at least 2.
I always say 2 bloops and a blast will get you a long way, and I think right now he's starting to feel some of the luck that he didn't have on the last road trip. You can say, but everything's a little out front, but he's just getting enough wood on the ball to get it out over the infield, and it's just dropping right in good spots in the outfield right now.
So he's added 7 points to his batting average. His first hit was a solid ground ball through the right side, but then reaching out and poking the ball into right center for a double in the 4th, and now about the same for a single into left center in this inning. Callaspo, 2 good swings. He's grounded hard into a double play, and he's tripled in a run. One ball, 1 strike. His triple did not even reach the warning track in right field, but he got it over Bobby Abreu's head, who is shallow, and Abreu playing a little deeper this time around. Driven again to right field. Abreu not even to the track. So more evidence that the ball is going nowhere tonight.
Roberto Callaspo is wishing for 85-degree weather, sunshine. I mean, you can just see the frustration on his face going back to the dugout. I mean, he can't hit a ball any better than this. And in this ballpark, this heavy air, he's just not strong enough to get it out of here. But true enough, both those balls on the right day, he could have been trotting both times.
So the wind blowing in, making right field even more difficult. So 2 down. Mark Teahan is singled and been intentionally walked. Ball 1. We just saw Mark's mother Marty, grandmother Ruth, and brother Matt in Oakland. Mark is from Southern California and grew up rooting for the Angels. One and one. Martin used to go to Angels-Royals games when he was in middle school. His father was Mike Sweeney's science teacher and PE coach. And when Mike would come to town and play the Angels, he would leave tickets for the Tians. And Mark drafted by the A's in the first round in 2002. And then coming over to the Royals in the Carlos Beltran trade in 04. Three and one. Tian into left field, and that drops in front of Rivera. Jacobs to second base, 2 on, 2 out. A 2-hit game for Tian.
Especially a good piece of hitting. He'd been getting pounded in all night, and then been able to just take this ball away and hit it away. But that's just a good approach by Mark Tian of going back to basics, and that's when he's the best, when he's doing that.
Left-hander Darren Oliver, who was born here in Kansas City, starting to warm up in the left field bullpen. So John Buck with a chance to drive in runs for a third time tonight with 2 outs. No balls, 1 strike. Buck is stranded 3. Flied out to center field to end the second inning with Tian at first, and then struck out in the 4th with Cayaspo at third and Tian at first again. One and one. I don't want to call this a steamy night because it's cool, but you can see the moisture in the air. You can see the heaviness just from the glare off the lights. And the ball really isn't carrying at all. And you say not carrying, and balls maybe that would be home runs caught on the warning track tonight, the balls aren't even getting to the warning track. Kauffman Stadium, from our vantage point looking out towards the lights in the outfield, looks a little bit like a bathroom after a hot shower.
Yeah, it's pretty heavy air, that's for sure. You almost have to hit a line drive right down the line to get it out of the ballpark tonight.
To the left side, and Ibar throws out Buck. So John Buck is stranded 5 tonight, and the Royals leave 2 on in the 6th.
Rewind. AT&T, the nation's fastest 3G network. AT&T, your world delivered.
Well, Robinson Tejeda filling in for Gilmesh tonight, still in line to win the game. Going 5 1/3, giving up just one hit. Kyle Farnsworth got the last 2 outs, and now Jamie Wright for the 7th. And like many relievers this year, walks have been an issue for Jamie, and he has 30 and 64 1/3 innings. So almost one walk every 2 innings pitched. And in his last appearance, which was Tuesday night in Oakland, pitched a 1/3 of an inning and then was out after a walk. Royals eventually won that game 4-3. And way outside to Torrey Hunter. Torrey glad to see Robinson Tejeda out of the game. Struck out twice. Tejeda struck out 6 in 5 1/3. Tejeda retired 15 in a row. And with 1 out in the 6th inning, walked Derek Ibar, then walked Sean Figgins, and then was out of the game. And Farnsworth closing out the 6th. Hunter grounds out to Tien, 1 down in the 7th inning. Well, remember, you can visit the official online shop of the Royals at Royals.com for the largest online selection of official caps, t-shirts, jerseys, collectibles, and more. And you can shop 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So get your gear straight from the source, the Royals.com Pro Shop. A strike to Kendry Morales, who struck out and grounded out against Tejeda. It's been a good year overall for the Angels on offense, and they lead the league in hitting, 2nd in the league in runs scored. And they had a very odd series in Seattle. They won the first game 10-0 on Monday, but then they scored 1 run in the next 2 games. So one huge offensive game. They beat Luke French, who has beaten the Royals twice this year, but then they lost 2-1 on Tuesday and were shut out yesterday by Felix Hernandez in the Mariners bullpen. Felix going 8 innings, winning his 14th game of the year. So the Angels scoreless tonight in 6 1/3 innings. Have scored 1 run since Monday.
You want to think about that. I mean, that's hard to believe. With their offense, it's hard to believe they go that long without scoring a run.
Three and two. And a 1-out walk, so another walk given up by the Royals bullpen. So the Angels, with just 5 base runners all night, and 4 of those by way of the walk. So they've only gotten 1 man on base using the bat. Juan Rivera struck out, lined out against Tejeda. Morales really isn't a threat to run. He has 1 stolen base, and he's been thrown out 4 times. Rivera up the middle and past Callaspo. Morales will hold at second. So 2 on, 1 out. That's the first hit for the Angels since the first inning.
Well, this is what they call a CNI base hit, Ryan. This ball goes right up the middle, just to the shortstop side. And Casper did everything he could to try to keep this ball on the infield, but just a step too slow on that one.
Now Mike Napoli, who has hit the ball hard twice, has nothing to show for it. He's lined to left, grounded out to third on a diving play by Tien. Well, the Angels have seen that. The Rangers have won. Scott Feldman winning again for Texas. So at the moment, the Angels' lead is 3 in the West. The Angels have one of the better records in the American League. Actually have a losing record against their own division, and it's not even close. They're 18-33 against the West. They still have 7 more games with Texas before the year is over. And it's 2 balls, 1 strike on Napoli.
Well, that's not something that you want to look forward to if you're that bad against your own division, because that's where you plan going down to the last few weeks of the season. So I'm sure that Mike Soch is concerned about that.
Just out the outside, it's 3-1. Well, one thing the Angels have over the Rangers, at least right now, is been there, done that. They've won 4 titles, their division titles, in the last 5 years. So they're more comfortable when you get to the pressure of playing games in September. And how many teams who are new to that position start to fade off when they start to feel that pressure?
Well, those big games the last 2 weeks of the season, if you haven't been there in a while, they do make a big difference. But I think it's going to come down to pitching and how effective the pitching is in the head-to-heads with Texas, because if Texas, they have a pitcher for striking out. So if your pitchers are sharp and you can minimize your base runners, you got a chance to win the game.
Well, let's see. The Angels are 11th in the American League in ERA, and the Rangers are 4th. They've made a huge improvement on the mound this year.
Well, when you go to those head-to-heads down the end, that's going to come down to pitching and defense in the end. And if the Angels can get their pitching straightened out and to help to go along with their offense and defense, they got a chance. But if it starts on the mound, and with Texas improving their pitching, even though they do have a lot of strikeouts, they've been able to put up a lot of runs.
Runners go. Napoli strikes out. Double play. So the Angels strand a runner in the 7th inning. They have stranded 4 in the last 2 innings. And we go to the bottom of the 7th with the Royals still in front, 1-0. year gets the Royals through a scoreless 7th inning, and Texas has beaten Baltimore on the Panera Around the League scoreboard. So it's a 3-game lead now for the Angels. Cleveland beating Minnesota. Twins in second place in the Central, but 5 back. Toronto shutting out the Yankees. That's hard to do these days. Yankees have won 86 games. Detroit over Tampa Bay, so they have a chance to move their lead to 6 in the Central. And Chicago way out in front of Boston. Seattle and Oakland in the second inning, no score on the West Coast. Yuniesky Betancourt has struck out. He is doubled. And that double is still a big play tonight because that was leading off the 5th inning, but the Royals never got him to third base. Josh Anderson trying to advance him with a bunt, popped it up. And then Jared Weaver struck out De Jesus and Meyer. The Royals only run tonight. In the 4th inning, Alberto Callaspo with a triple, scoring Mike Jacobs. 2-2. Full count. Weaver now over 100 pitches. He has given up only 1 walk, and that was intentional to Mark Teahan in the 4th inning. He has 5 strikeouts. And another foul ball that nearly went into the Angels TV booth again. Still 3-2. Betancourt, Anderson, and De Jesus in the bottom of the 7th. Not tonight. 1 down in the 7th.
This is one of those nights, Ryan, you wake up in the morning and you got fog everywhere.
Yeah. .67 degrees at first pitch. And now Josh Anderson 0 for 2. That curveball at 69 miles an hour. How about that pitch? Very good precision this late in the game.
Yeah, he's got a nice assortment of pitches with his slider, his change, and his curveball, and that was a pinpoint fastball right on the glove there.
And then over the inside. So Anderson down on 3 pitches, 6 strikeouts for Weaver. The Kansas City Royals, the state of Missouri, and Fox Sports Kansas City have joined together to encourage young people not to smoke, because once you start, it's hard to stop. Strike out tobacco so we can all breathe. Call the Missouri Tobacco Quit line at 1-800-QUIT-NOW. De Jesus off the end of the bat. So David has hit in 5 straight. He's 1 for 4 tonight. And the Royals now have out-hit the Angels 8-2.
Yeah, David had a real good pitch to hit there with a changeup, you know, but it just stayed up long enough before it started to run away, and he stayed with it, got off the end of the bat, and right back through the middle of the plate of the diamond. And he's really been the most consistent in that area, batting left-handed. I mean, not trying to pull a ball, just keeping a good balance at the plate and just hitting the ball where it's pitched. And even though when he gets pitched inside, it doesn't take him away from what his main approach is, and that's hitting the ball the other way.
1 strike on Mitch Meyer. 0 for 3 with 2 strikeouts tonight.
But now this is a same pitch going away from Mitch. So rather than staying with it, he only went so far, and then everything took over. His top man took over, and then that bottom man slipped off the bat. So he was lucky to hold on to the bat in that swing. So he's got to keep more of a balance, hit more of a pull rather than the balance, and commit yourself to actually trying to hit the ball that way.
Up the left field line, fair ball. Jesus coming way around second base, and he's out. Well, the Royals lose a runner in scoring position, and David doesn't want to get up. With shoulder fatigue, goes 5 1/3 with 6 strikeouts, only 1 hit. Alberto Callaspo has driven in the only run with a triple in the 4th inning, and so far the Royals bullpen has not allowed a run in an inning and 2/3. Royals getting a big double play to get out of the 7th inning, a strike him out, throw him out double play. So 6 outs to go. Eric Ibar running up, either to bunt or slug bunt, as they used to call it. Takes a strike. He has walked and grounded out to third when he tried to bunt in the 3rd inning.
I've seen him walk up and do that, but with the intention of catching the shortstop deep and just sort of slapping the ball a little bit in the way of the shortstop just by the mound. And I've seen him beat that ball out before.
Somewhere in the world there's a tree, and switch hitting middle infielders that can run apparently are growing off that tree, and only the Angels know where it is. I mean, just one after another, and some of them, like Sean Figgins, not even from their organization, but just fits the profile perfectly. Billy hustling back to the bag and just got Ibar.
I think the thing that Billy's got to really work on is when you got a speed guy coming down the line like that on a ball hit like that, he wants to stay to the inside of the bag. He doesn't want to cross the bag in front of him, and I think that's where you almost get a nasty collision right there. So always have to stay to the inside. You're already on the inside, so just run to the inside with your left foot to touch the base and not your right foot.
You know, you brought up so many little technical things that you just missed, but you know, another thing that I just saw there, if he does go with his left foot, he probably gets to the bag quicker.
A lot faster,
yeah.
Right.
He lost his stride by using his right foot. Figgins is struck out, flied out, walked. Two and 0.
You know, those are some of the things that you have to go back and, you know, the infield coach, you write them down, and then you talk to the infielder about it the next day, and just sort of refresh their memory on it. So once you say, oh, Billy, you should have done this, then it helps him the next time that play presents itself. Otherwise, they continue to do the same thing, and before you know it, you have a collision at first base that you could have easily avoided.
Now, on that particular play, I think Billy wins that collision. But maybe somewhere down the road when you've got Bobby Abreu running up the line, he might have some problems.
I might have to take Ibar on that one.
Really?
Well, once Billy turns sideways, you know, once you turn sideways, I think you lose any momentum that you have. And
Jamie Wright walks his second. John Bale warming up with Bobby Abreu, a couple of hitters down the line. This game tonight is very similar to the game on Tuesday in Oakland, where the Royals were walking the A's left and right, but the A's just couldn't come up with a big hit, and especially in the later innings. And that ended up being a one-run victory for the Royals.
That was a nail-biter. Sawyer came in first and second, no outs, and then walks the first guy. And then you just think that, man, where's this game going to go? But he was able to pitch his way through it, and it's one of those games you win, but you feel like you lost.
Tejeda walked 2 and 5 1/3. Farnsworth walked 1 and 2/3, and now Jamie Wright has walked 2 and an inning and a third. And now Joaquim Soria will grab his glove. Now this is a great combination if the Angels want to steal. Figgins has 39. Jamie Wright is a sinker ball pitcher, so everything is typically down, and John Buck has had his troubles the last 2 years throwing out runners. Figgins not going, and it's a strike.
And Mike Socha can also opt for the hit and run here too, Ryan, because of the ground ball, and then he's got an opportunity there to get a first and third situation.
Figgins now running again, and it's 1-1. Well, the Royals are 0-6 against the Angels this year, but there have been several games that they were on their way to winning, but here's where the damage has been done. Category 3 and 5. The Angels outscoring the Royals this year 19-0 from the 7th inning on, and the Angels bullpen hasn't given up a single run yet, and we haven't seen the bullpen tonight as Weaver has gone the first 7. The Royals bullpen, at least in the first 6 games of this series, with an ERA over 8.
That's when you say, let's get the starter out of the game and get into the bullpen, and we'll get some runs. That's a hefty ERA. coming out of the bullpen.
It's 2-1 now on his tourists. Well, just last inning, we were describing the Rangers and how they're staying close in the West, but the Angels have so much more experience winning, and I'm sure will be more relaxed this late in the season. Well, that also translates to games. It's easy to have a lead after 6 or 7 innings, but can you deal with the pressure in innings 8 and 9? Three and one. Figgins still not running, and a walk. So with 1 out, back-to-back walks. That's interesting, Frank. Figgins never even flinched towards second base.
Well, that's unusual on a 3-1 count. Normally you are running with that type of speed on the bases, but maybe they looked at Jamie's time to the plate and felt that it'd be better off to stay back and see if he will walk. And sometimes you gotta. It's kind of like a hitter and a pitcher. Basically, you just got to make him throw strikes. If not throwing strikes, you don't do it.
That sets up 2 on, 1 out. John Bale facing Bobby Abreu. And Bale with 18 walks and 27 in the third innings. And just another Royals game where a stormtrooper stops by to watch the Royals and the Angels.
You always wonder when they leave home what they're thinking about.
At some point he looked in the mirror and said,
"This is a good idea.
I'm good."
John Bell, when he's effective, Ryan, is when he can get his fastball to the extension side of the plate, which is the outside corner to the lefty. And then his breaking ball, if it's sharp, he has success. But if it stays out over the plate, that's when the lefty is able to stay with it and hit it the other way.
Abreu tonight 0 for 2 with a walk. And Bale hurt himself. One pitch into it, and Bale in obvious pain. And popped up right away, but now is having a tough time just standing up straight. And that might be the second injured Royals reliever tonight, is Kyle Farnsworth, after he recorded the final out in the 6th inning, walked off the field gingerly. Here's another look. Well, I didn't. Has gotten worse for the Royals tonight. Robinson Tejeda, first of all, on a bright note, 5 1/3 innings, gave up 1 hit and no runs. He struck out 6. Kyle Farnsworth, 2/3 of an inning. Here's the final out of the 6th inning, throwing awkwardly to first. And then as he was walking off the field, really started to slow down. And at one point grabbed his left side, then his right side, and did not return for the 7th inning. Jamie Wright pitched a scoreless 7th. He got 1 out in the 8th. And after a couple of walks, John Bale coming in, throwing 1 pitch. And down he goes. So it's a busy night in the Royals training room. And Ramon Colon, who gets all the warm-up tosses he needs because he comes on because of an injury. It's one of those nights. I don't care what you call it, that's a full moon.
That's definitely a full moon.
Okay, is that what your watch says?
That's a waxing gibbous full moon. Yes, sir. And I will let you look.
Tonight's copyrighted telecast is presented by the authority of the Kansas City Royals and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Kansas City Royals Baseball Corporation. Frank White has a watch that not only gives you time, but it gives you the different phases of the moon, and sure enough, it says right here that it is a full moon. This watch weighs about 15 pounds, by the way. We need, here, let me get this back to you, Frank. With both hands. Hey, lift with my legs. You got it?
I got it.
Wow.
But you believe me.
Yeah.
That's the key.
There's full moon on it. So the Royals had a lefty, Bale, facing Abreu. Now it's the righty, Colon. And the count is 1 ball, 2 strikes.
That's kind of heavy. It's kind of hard to carry a moon around, you know.
If you haven't heard already, tonight is Frank's birthday. Well, today was Frank's birthday, not just tonight. Abreu 0 for 2 with a walk against Colon, and that's what he's done tonight in the game. 0 for 2 with a walk. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Abreu was 1 for 4 against John Bale with 2 strikeouts. Nobody was warming up behind John Bale, so Bale did not get a double play from Abreu. He was going to have to face Vladimir Guerrero. So it would have been a lefty-lefty matchup giving way to a lefty-righty matchup. 3-2.
Well, the last time the Angels was in this situation, Ryan, they tried a double steal, and it was a strikeout, throw-out, double play.
Mapley at the plate in the 7th inning. He struck out, and Morales was thrown out at 3rd. A little better speed at second base this time around with Figgins. And they're going to try it again. Ball 4. They're loaded up for Guerrero. The Royals have walked 7 tonight and have given up 0 runs. And all 7 of those walks coming in the last 3 innings. Tejeda walked 2, Farnsworth 1 in the 6th, Wright walked 1 in the 7th, and now Wright 2, Colon 1 in the 8th. Second time in 3 innings the Royals have walked the bases loaded.
Well, you know, as I know, Ryan, in this league, you can only get away with that so long. And you got as good a hitters as they are in this league, you can only give free passes and expect to survive, on a very limited basis. A guy like Vladimir Guerrero, you don't have anywhere to go. You throw him strikes, throw him balls. He's got a chance to put the ball in play.
Fastball at 96. Well, something must have gone wrong on that first pitch, because John Buck immediately ran out to the mound, and he and Colon met in between the mound and home plate.
Well, I think it might have been location. that was definitely a very hittable pitch, up in the zone, a good ball. You can get to the outfield. You want to try to create a ground ball here. Guerrero's a pretty good double play candidate.
As far as major league matchups go, Colon and Guerrero have not faced one another, but they are both from the Dominican Republic, so I am assuming that they probably face one another in winter ball. Past 10 and into left field, and the Angels are going to take the lead. So the walks finally come back to bite the Royals. 2-1 Angels in the 8th.
Well, he really had nowhere to go with the bases loaded, and this is just a rocket. I mean, this ball's by Martin before he even made a move. That's just how hard this ball was hit.
So Guerrero drives in his 39th and 40th runs. He spent a lot of time on the disabled list this year. And this will be the first time Torrey Hunter has faced Roman Colon. Torrey 0 for 3, 2 strikeouts. One and one. Two and one. Three and one. So one pitch away from the bases being loaded again because of a walk.
It's another running situation for the Angels here too, right now. 3-1, got Abreu at second base. So that Mike Socha, he likes to be aggressive in these situations.
They are not running, and Hunter fouls it away. With one out, 3 consecutive walks, and a 2-run single from Vladimir Guerrero. Guerrero had been 0 for his last 11. Now the runners go, and another walk. That's 4 walks in the inning. Now, it's really hard to pick on one guy because outside of Joakim Soria, walks have been a problem in the Royals bullpen. And what do you think leads to this? Is it mechanical? Is it a maybe fear is too strong of a word, but not wanting to throw strikes because you're afraid of what might happen, or overthrowing the ball? What do you think?
I think it could, when it's gone like this, it could be all the above. I really think that pitchers, if they want to throw strikes, they can throw strikes. I think what they try to do, rather than aim down the middle of the plate and let the ball do what it's supposed to do, they want to be fine on the corners, and then they either overshoot the corners and pull the ball to the other side. So that's probably more mechanical. But I think it just goes back to just wanting to throw strikes. One hitter's to put the ball in play and not get them to chase balls and get behind in the count. And now you really got to come in there and they're really sitting on you. But it's those early strikes.
0-2 on Morales.
But it just goes back to, I believe it's them not wanting the hitters to hit the ball. That's what I believe. I don't think they're afraid or anything like that. I think it's just when they want to throw a strike, they can throw a strike. It's they just want to throw that perfect strike, and that's what gets them in trouble.
Morales walked his last time. He's grounded to short, struck out. Chance for 2. Out at second. Double play. The Angels take the lead. So 4 walks lead to 2 runs, and the Royals down by 1. Fuel efficient escape, roomy edge, or hot selling fusion at Thoroughbred Ford. That is not rain falling behind that couple. That's the fountains. We did have rain all day today. Maybe the umbrella to protect them from the mist with the wind blowing in. But a cool night. And now the Royals down by 1. Kevin Jepson takes over in the bottom of the 8th, and he'll get Billy Butler, Mike Jacobs, and Alberto Callaspo. Who knows what would have happened in the bottom of the 7th inning, but perhaps lost after the Angels getting 2 in the 8th was how the bottom of the 7th ended. With 2 outs, David DeJesus singled, then Mitch Meyer singled up the left field line, and DeJesus took a wide turn around second, too far, and the Angels threw him out. So the Royals had a chance to have 2 on for Billy Butler, who was their leading RBI man, but because of that final out, Billy bats with nobody on base.
And that was a preventable play because that play was in front of David, and he just rounded the second base too far. I mean, when you see the shortstop, the second baseman, and the ball, I mean, the shortstop and the baseball, you should be able to see that when it's in front of you and not round the base that far.
This is Butler's first ever at bat against Jepson, and he lines it foul. Billy has flied out, popped out twice, once in foul territory. Still 0-2. One out. 7 strikeouts for Angels pitchers tonight. Weaver had 6 in his 7 innings. He gave up 9 hits in 7 innings, but only 1 run. And that 1 run was scored by Mike Jacobs, who has a 3-hit game. 2 singles, a double, scored on the Callaspo triple in the 4th inning, and the Royals taking that 1-0 lead into the 8th until the Angels scored 2. Ball 1. So a good start to the homestand for Jacobs after going 2 out of 20 on the road trip. One of those hits was a home run, but as Frank and I have discussed a couple times tonight, several lineouts, and especially to center field as he continues to try and work his game back towards the middle of the field as opposed to pulling everything.
Well, sometimes it takes a while for it to sink in, especially if you've had a year like Mike Jacobs had last season, and you come to a new ball club and you think what's going to work is going to continue to work, so you kind of fight change for a while. But at some point, the batting average and being embarrassed sometimes will make you go up and say, look, I got to make some changes, and you do that.
Well, he hits it to the opposite field again, but grounds out. So 2 down. And now Jepson will face Alberto Callaspo. Jepson was a second-round pick of the Angels in 2002. The scout that signed him was Todd Blyleven, who's the son of former Angels and Twins and Rangers pitcher Burt Blyleven, now broadcaster for Minnesota. And 1 year into his pro career, he had to have elbow and shoulder surgery. And then 2 years later, shoulder surgery again. Made his big league debut for the Angels last year in September. And it's always a dream come true when a guy makes it to the big leagues, but then you make your debut against the Yankees. And the first 3 guys you face are Derek Jeter, Bobby Abreu, and Alex Rodriguez. And he retired all three. And now he plays alongside Abreu.
That's why they say this game creates memories, Ryan, and you never know how they're going to come, but when you get done playing this game, you can always look back on a couple key moments in your career that you never forget. I remember going to Yankee Stadium for the first time, the old Yankee Stadium, and it was seeing how low the fence was in right field and all the monuments out in center field, and I remember getting my first base hit off of Mel Stottlemyre. I mean, it's being Elson Howard for the first time. It was pretty exciting.
And as you told me, one of your favorite players growing up was Frank Robinson. However, in one of your first games against Frank Robinson,
well, he took me out at second base pretty good. I saw a star at first base and saw more stars after he left second base. Then I realized that if you want to survive up here, you get the stars out of your eyes and play baseball. Yeah, but I'd imagine guys that a lot of guys you watch playing on TV and you see them on the field for the first time and you're playing against them, and it's hard not to be starstruck. And then you get in the game, and then you realize why you like them to begin with, because this is how they play. And so teach you in a hurry that you need to make that adjustment pretty quick.
Mayasko's hitting the ball hard all night. That's just his second hit. But he has been right on the Angels. And the Royals, in the fourth inning with 2 outs, nobody on, got their first run. And then last inning with 2 outs, nobody on, got a couple of hits.
Well, he's all hands tonight, Ryan. I mean, he just had very little head movement. He's using his hands really well. And after he got that base hit, you can just tell the frustration just left him right there. He just flipped that up there. And you can see how he gets through the ball. And then once he gets through the ball, then the wrists roll over. Well, with Mike Jacobs, his wrists are rolling right at the point of contact, and that takes a lot of your drive of the ball away. You want to get through it, and then once you're through it, then those wrists roll over.
So the tying run at first with 2 down. Martin has 2 hits tonight, and he's reached with a walk. And Jepson, that's a good way to injure yourself, stopping right in mid-motion like that. A lot of times pitchers will throw it anyway, even though they know the pitch won't count.
That's one of those situations where a lot of pitchers, if you go to your stretch and you're not looking in the home plate, then you get caught off guard. If you got your head down and all of a sudden you pick it up as you're ready to throw and you see everything unfold right in front of you. So his head's down, then he picks up the plate.
0-1 on Tien.
So guys that pick up the plate early, they don't get caught as much like that. But if you're picking your head up and starting your wind, you move to the plate at the same time, and all of a sudden arms get to flying, and then that throws you off balance.
No balls, 2 strikes.
Now, you don't mind so much when your catcher's calling timeout, but you hate when the umpire and the hitter's calling timeout in that situation.
Blocked again by Napoli. He has just been a stone wall tonight.
That's just perfect. If you want to do a highlight on how to block balls in the dirt, you definitely start with him tonight. Now watch how his knees go. His knees just go straight down, and then he got the middle covered. And that's all you want to do is let it hit you in the chest and fall back out in front of the plate. I don't know if he had time to exhale or not.
Tien is down, and so are the Royals in the 8th innings. The Royals strand their 8th runner. Royals down by 1 to the 9th. This inning for Kevin Jepson in the bottom of the 8th. Roman Colon stays on for the 9th. A strike to Juan Rivera. Jamie Wright began the 8th after pitching a scoreless 7th with 1 out, walked 2 hitters. John Bale came out of the bullpen, threw 1 pitch, and then crumpled to his knees and had to leave the game. Roman Colon came on and walked the batter that Bale was facing, Abreu. Then Guerrero hit a 2-run single, scoring Figgins and his Turris. One and two. Rivera is singled, lined to left, and struck out. The Royals have walked 8 tonight, and all 8 have come in the last 3 innings. Callaspo playing him perfect up the middle, and Rivera is out. Well, it's a shame that even if the Royals come back and win this game, Robinson Tejeda will not be the winning pitcher. Gil Mesh was scratched earlier today because of shoulder fatigue, and Tejeda making his first start of the year, going 5 1/3 innings, and only 1 hit allowed, no runs, and struck out 6. No report yet on what happened when Gil Mesh met with the doctors, and if he'll be pushed back just a few days or longer than that. So there's a chance we could see a second start from Robinson Tejeda.
Well, it'll be in September, and you're out of the race, and it's a good time. If you got any inkling of something wrong with your pitchers, this is a good month. You can back them off and not feel like you're hurting your ball club or anything like that. And it may be a situation with Bell going down also, that along with possibly Farnsworth, that you might have to bring in more guys from AAA than you probably intended to start with.
Brian Bannister also meeting with the team doctors today. He had to leave his start in Oakland on Wednesday in the 2nd inning because of shoulder fatigue. Phil Cuzzi says no swing. It's 1-2 on Napoli. Right center field. And Mitch Meyer with his right hand calling off Josh Anderson. 2 down in the ninth. Well, no TV tomorrow, so coming out to Kauffman Stadium. It's going to be a great pitching matchup. John Lackey for the Angels and Zach Greinke going for his 14th win. All Zach has done in his last 2 starts is strike out 15 Indians and then hold the Mariners to 1 hit over 9 innings. Tomorrow's game is at 6:10. Eric Ibar 0 for 2 with a walk tonight. Butler's got it right at the bag. And the bottom of the ninth. It'll be John Buck, Yuniesky Betancourt. Royals began the second half with series at home against Tampa Bay and the Angels, and the Royals were having an awful time in the 8th inning. Well, tonight, a 1-0 lead into the 8th inning. The Angels scored 2, and now the Royals trying to tie it and perhaps win it in the bottom of the ninth against Brian Fuentes, who is 37 out of 42 in save opportunities. John Buck was scheduled to lead off, but it's going to be Willie Bloomquist. Yuniesky Betancourt on deck, and then Josh Anderson. And there's a good chance that Trey Hillman could pinch hit for Anderson and avoid that left-left matchup.
Well, you look at this pinch hitting situation here, Ryan. You leave John Buck in the game, and John has a tendency to be able to go deep. You know, you're looking for a 1-run to tie right here with Willie Bloomquist pinch hitting. Then maybe Trey Hillman has said, "I want you to try to work the count and try to get a walk." But that's not the case in this situation. I mean, if I'm going to lead, if I'm going to take a guy out that has a tendency to hit a home run for a guy that doesn't, then I'm going to want that guy to go up and try to work a walk.
Fuentes has given up 5 home runs in 44 innings. So that's not a very high total. However, the league is hitting just .248 against Fuentes, so he's not the type of guy that, at least prior to tonight, is going to have a lot of innings where he gives up multiple hits. Bloomquist into left field, and a leadoff single.
Well, he gets a breaking ball up out over the plate, Ryan, and just stays right on top of it, hit down through the ball. And throughout the road trip, he was hitting balls hard, and he didn't have much luck either. And now these balls are starting to fall in for him, too. That's a big hit to lead off the 9th inning.
Well, general strategy is you play for the tie at home and you go for the win on the road. And if the Royals follow that form chart, Betancourt might lay down a bunt. That's way outside. Now, Betancourt has 10 sacrifice bunts, and that is the second highest total in the American League. But with the Royals, he has just 2 sacrifice bunts, and on several occasions hasn't gotten the bunt down. And at least for one pitch,
right.
Trey doesn't want him to bunt.
And also he's got 14 grounded and double plays, so you got to look at that too.
That was not a strike, and it's 1-1. And some managers will give a hitter one pitch to take a rip and drive the ball, and after there's a strike in the count, we'll ask to lay one down. Swinging, gonna have to hurry. Out at second. Out. Double play. Trey Hillman's gonna argue, so no bunt. And Frank pointed out the 14 ground into a double play, and that's what Betancourt does.
Well, Ibar gets rid of this ball quickly, and it sure does the same at second base. I mean, just a nice pirouette, let Bloomquist fly right underneath his legs, and a nice throw to first base.
Whoa. Now you can see where the Royals' argument is. Betancourt clearly has his foot on the bag. Of course, that play always looks a lot easier in super slow-mo.
That's true.
But I'm sure the question will come up, why not bunt Betancourt? So 2 down, and now Brian Pena is going to bat for Josh Anderson. Anderson was 0 for 3. Two and 0. Two and 1. In this situation during the last homestand, Brian Pena gave the Royals and their fans a big thrill when he had a 2-out home run in the bottom of the 9th inning against Joe Nathan to tie the game. That was batting left-handed and into right field. And he's ahead 3 balls, 1 strike. Twins ended up winning that game in 10 innings. And then that bizarre statistic, Joe Nathan with 4 blown saves against the Royals in his career. But Minnesota's won each of those 4 games. And Brian going for it all. It's 3-2.
Yeah, Nathan really showed a lot of tenacity in that game. After he gave up the lead, he really pushed himself in that game. Gardenhire wanted to take him out. He just waved him back to the dugout. He says, I'm going to get this done one way or the other. And he stayed out there and finished it. I mean, to his credit.
Pena into left center field, but the ball's going to hang up and run down by Rivera. Well, we noticed this very early in the game. The air is heavy and the ball isn't carrying at all. And the point early on was that the Royals were losing